Boxing has been at the center point of combat sports for decades. From historic greats such as Sugar Ray Robinson, Rocky Marciano, and Ray Lewis, to the modern era of legends like Floyd Money Mayweather and Canelo Alvarez. With all of those names in mind, nothing quite compares to boxing's heavyweight division. Over the years, we have seen some of the most concussive punches send shivers down our spines from brutal knockouts and highlight reels. When we think of sheer power, we think of the likes of Mike Tyson, George Foreman, and Ernie Shavers. But when it comes down to natural power in the modern era, I challenge you to call out a name more prominent than the former WBC heavyweight champion of the world, Deontay Wilder. Wilder has built a reputation as one of the most destructive, if not the most terrifying puncher in boxing history. If his appearance isn't enough, maybe his boxing record is, which consists of 42 wins, only one loss, with 41 of his 42 wins coming by way of knockout. Wilder often talks about not only his power alone, but the manner in which his opponents end up on the canvas. He has delivered some of the most vicious knockouts ever witnessed, on several occasions leaving his opponents in a lifeless state. In many ways, Wilder has defied odds, with his weight often ranging between 214 to 230 pounds on a 6'7" frame, which is notoriously slim when compared to many other heavyweights, both past and present. Even with that, he is seemingly able to generate enough power to shut the lights out of any man on the planet.
I am the baddest. I do hit the hardest. I am the most feared. Record speaks for itself.
With that said, let's take a look at the last 3 years of Wilder's personal and professional fight career. By 2017, Wilder had already racked up 37 career wins, all by knockout bar one against Bermane Stiverne in their first encounter, where Wilder won the WBC heavyweight belt via dominant unanimous decision. These years included highlight reel knockouts against Artur Szpilka, Malik Scott, and Audley Harrison. On the 25th of February 2017, Wilder took on former US Navy and NFL star Gerald Washington in defense of his WBC belt. Wilder had a few challenges figuring Washington out in the early rounds, although inevitably, Washington fell to the same fate as almost all of Wilder's previous opponents by being knocked out in the 5th round. He then moved on to defend his belt against the only man to have gone the distance with him, Bermane Stiverne. There was a lot of hype built around this rematch based on their first fight going all 12 rounds, but on this occasion, Wilder wasn't looking to leave fate in the judges' hands by destroying Stiverne in the first round with a series of brutal blows. Wilder's next fight was against an aging but revered Cuban fighter by the name of Luis Ortiz, who many had labelled as the boogeyman of the heavyweight division. Once again, Wilder had a hard time figuring Ortiz out, but after knocking Ortiz down earlier in the fight, he eventually knocked him out in the 10th round, improving his record to 40 straight wins. All roads then led up to one of the most highly anticipated bouts in modern heavyweight history against the newly returned Tyson Fury, who had an extended period of inactivity due to substance abuse and depression. The build-up included fireworks, antics, and a global press tour, with all signals pointing towards an electric fight which certainly didn't disappoint.
When I beat him, I'm not looking for the second time around because it's going to be so bad and so brutal that the first time is going to be enough.
Most argue that the 12-round fight was dominated by the UK's Tyson Fury.
I will baptize you.
The second knockdown especially has gone. This was Wilder's first ever career draw, which naturally paved the road towards a desired rematch, which the fans had been crying out for in the years that followed. Between the rematch, Wilder took on touted prospect Dominic Breazeale, who had already been beaten by Anthony Joshua prior, but managed to work his way back up the division for a shot at Wilder's belt. After a small wobble early in the fight, Wilder made short work of Brazil, dispatching of him in the very first round. He followed this up with a rematch against Luis Ortiz, who he had already knocked out, by doing the repeat and stopping him once again, but this time in the 7th round. The stage was then set for a rematch of the ages against Tyson Fury, who had now shaken off the years of inactivity and was primed for the fight of his life. The bout took place at the MGM Grand Garden Arena on the 22nd of February 2020, with a packed crowd and millions tuned in on pay-per-view. This was the turn of fate for Wilder, in which Tyson Fury adjusted his style through his new trainer Sugar Hill Stewart, nephew of the late great Emmanuel Stewart. Tyson Fury was on his front foot from the opening bell, taking the fight to Wilder and eventually forcing Wilder's corner to retire their fighter in the 7th round to save him from any more punishment. Following the fight, Wilder has been engrossed with controversy, with a mix of rumours and statements, including a variety of reasons behind Wilder's loss. This included back and forth around Tyson Fury's hand wraps, accusatory deceit from Wilder's trainer Mark Breland, and Wilder's ring costume having depleted him on fight night. Beyond the rumours, speculation and discussion as it relates to Wilder, one thing we can't deny is the power he possesses in both of his hands. He has unquestionably established himself as one of the most devastating punchers to have ever laced up gloves, agnostic of his technique, ring IQ, or otherwise. Where Wilder goes next is currently unclear, with a natural calling for a trilogy fight against Fury, amongst other contenders in the division, calling for a shot at the former champ. What we do know is that Wilder simply isn't ever in a boring fight, so when his name is announced next, I advise you strap up and buckle in to be prepared for an explosive night at the office. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to punch that like button and hit subscribe, while also hitting the bell for post notifications so you're alerted next time I upload a video. Also, please be sure to check out my website www.alexalane.com, where I can teach you how you can turn any passion, whether sports, business or lifestyle related, into a sustainable income online. Once again, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode.